Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another One Piece review. This time we're covering manga chapter 1177. Now, TLDR, I'm going to split this review into two parts. I'm going to talk about this chapter to start off with, but I'm also going to give my thoughts on the live action season 2 since I finally got done watching all 8 episodes as of Wednesday. I got a lot of thoughts on season 2, and that's only a good thing, by the way. But I'm going to start off with the chapter, and finally, we got Usopp's defining Elbaf moment, finally. And whether or not you want to attribute this to the live action season 2 that's just taking place, considering the timing of it, whatever, I don't really care. We got it. It's what we asked for and we got. And even though you can make the case that Lyra Butler as Robin stole the show in season 2, the fact of the matter is Robin wasn't even in this chapter, but she was on the cover page because we got a cover request with Robin watering flowers in a flower bed filled with mole holes. So I don't know if that's a wink to the Baroque works, but either way, I thought it was kind of cool. Watering flowers, that's kind of a thing. So we start off the chapter at West Village. We go throughout because this is all about Dirty Brogy, Hardin, Stanson, and Zoro giving out the cure to those who are affected by reverse dummy. We start off, Colin's actually ecstatic because he's seeing all this carnage. But now, speaking of season 2, we go over to Chopper and Scopper's location back at the Sun Realm. So we got Kashi versus Constantino, but really this was there to give Chopper a bone since he was a part of season 2 as well. Let's be real. Kashi's kind of like hesitant to fight him because obviously they're friends, so they can't do that. So this is what pushes Chopper to do something. But before then, we got Dirty Brogy, Hardin, Stanson, and Zoro. It ends with Zoro pulling out Santuyu, Red Auger, Mega Fury, which was epic. Then we go back to Chopper's location, and what's interesting too, you got Scopper there pulling out the axe. He's about to do business even though he's injured. But then Chopper, he hits a rumble ball, and he goes into Monster Point to slap the hell out of Constantino's head. But obviously that leads to the cure, because obviously that's basically how to like reverse the effects of reverse dummy. It's like decapitation. So, but speaking of decapitation, we go outside our library where we go to St. Killingham, and it's been confirmed we're not getting a sequel to Sanji versus St. Killingham because St. Killingham is pretty much headless at this point. You got Jinbei holding him like a trophy. Then you got like Frankie there and Sanji sitting on the lower halves of St. Killingham. So yeah, we're not getting that fight, which again, I'm not really fussed about. Like I said before, and I'm going to say it again, Zoro and Sanji's participation would have been an afterthought anyway, considering we got Loki and Luffy on the case. So I said that from the get-go. I hate to say it, but it's true. Like up until this point, they really haven't been a factor. Nami is like feeding Zeus to like put out the other fires that are taking place, so that's pretty cool. So then we see Jinbei, and by the way, St. Killingham is still giving Jinbei shit, but Jinbei is like telling everybody, let's not lower our guard just yet because we still get Gunko on the loose, which I thought was kind of cool because like Gunko's the real threat here, despite St. Summers and St. Killingham. Like Gunko's the real threat, especially with Emu's influence, so we can't underestimate that. But then, out of nowhere, speaking of Luffy and Loki, they pop up casually out of nowhere, just like we got with Zoro. But we got Luffy say, "Hey, Nami, Sanji, Frankie, Jinbei." Robin is absent, by the way, inside the outer library. You got everybody freaking out. Nami is pissed because, are you out of your minds? Because Loki's size, because of, I'm grateful you you took out the villains, but your breathing is making the flames worse. What have I been saying this? Oda decided to reveal Loki's Needhog form. I said it's way too damn big. Like, he's not going to fight in that form because the whole point is to protect Elbaf. So even though he's being a hard ass about it, because we get to see that shortly, but he's going to fight either in his base form, or Oda's going to reveal his hybrid form. It's one of the two. I don't see Oda having him fight in this form, so this is going to kill two birds with one stone. Plus you got Nami do what Nami does, and this gets Luffy into trouble, which he throws that right back at Loki's face, like, you got me in trouble. I like how you got Rataskia there trying to comfort Luffy, it's going to be alright. But no, like, Luffy gets pissed. There's a back and forth between the two, and then Loki, he's like being a hard ass about not giving a shit what Luffy's crewmates think, but Loki actually fires with lightning breath. Doesn't affect him. Obviously, we got the Enel 2.0 moment where he doesn't give the face, but obviously has no effect because of Luffy. Because you got Loki's like, why didn't that affect you? After this, Luffy notices Gunko. So, and we couldn't find out they both noticed it. So we go over to Brook's location. We couldn't find out Ussop was there trying to help out Brook. Apparently, Ussop was already damaged by Gunko. But Usopp's trying to get back up, and Brook is telling Ussop, you need to get away. I came out for my own reasons. And then we got the moment for Ussop, the most defining moment for Ussop that I think we've gotten post-time skip, personally. I'll dive into that shortly, but Ussop gets back up, and he says the following: who would run and abandon a crew member? Brook, true warriors don't run. He gets back up, and he's like, I've always dreamed visiting this place. I won't disgrace myself here. And I'm glad he mentioned that. Usopp's pissed right now because of everything that Holy Knights have done to put the giants against one another here on Elbaf instead of doing it themselves. Kind of calls them out for it, but then Gunko comes in and attacks both Usopp and Gunko, but Usopp immediately gets back up like nothing. Warriors of Elbaf fight with their swords and shields. They put their own lives on the line. They're a nation of warriors. If you want to conquer them, do it straight up, fair and square. Fight them head on. So it's looking like Gunko's approaching Usopp, like it's Usopp trying to goad Gunko to like fighting straight up. But Gunko speed blitzes behind Usopp, but Usopp fires Skull Bomb Grass anyway. Gunko gets nailed in an explosion, and so does Usopp. But man, even though it's brief, what a moment for Usopp's character. Like, it leads into Luffy and Loki showing up right at Gunko's location. Gunko notices, and Luffy notices Usopp and Brook. He's pissed, and finally we're getting a serious Luffy and Gear 5th, and Loki's already locked in. But to me, and as epic as a moment as we got with Usopp, I like the fact that Gunko's response, despite all of this, despite Usopp's defiance, despite Luffy and Loki showing up, we got Gunko with the influence of Emu saying, Nika, Needhog, submit or perish. I have to wait to see what context that means. Demanding Luffy and Loki, hey, submit or perish. Like, she's not sweating bullets yet, so I like that. I said this before, like, ever since Emu found out that Needhog was on Elbaf, Emu's been locked in. But that's how Oda decides to end the chapter, and finally we got the showdown. Finally the face-to-face, Nika and Emu / Gunko, was been built up since the beginning of Gunko's introduction. We knew we were going to get this, but with Loki's inclusion as well, all bets are off. Like, and you can't really underestimate Gunko or Emu here. The only question is, what happens during the fight? Does the influence of Emu wear off? Does Gunko fight the influence of Emu? Or does something happen with a decapitation, which seems to be the kryptonite for Reverse Domi, to where it actually sets Gunko free? I don't know. I think there's going to be other layers to this shit. But for sure, I do not see, unless, like I said, unless this takeover times out, I do not see Gunko losing. I don't. Not this soon. So something has to happen here. But for now, we've got Luffy and Loki versus Gunko. It's going to be epic as hell. But epic goes to Usopp in this chapter. Finally, after waiting, and it's been building up since Little Garden, but we finally got here. It took a while to get here with Usopp, and I do find it funny the contrast in attitude with Usopp from the previous chapter to what we got here. If Oda did this because of what we got with live action season 2, I mean, I don't really care all that much, because at least we got something with Usopp, which we've been asking for how long now. I would much rather prefer Oda giving Usopp a character moment like this. We got a power up in Dressrosa. To me here, this defined Usopp post time skip. Like, we haven't gotten a moment this epic since Enoch's Lobby, as far as Usopp's character is concerned. Oda was playing with our expectations, and I said this in my last review, Oda could be doing that deliberately, but again, to say that Usopp was pissed off all this time when what we saw in the previous chapter is a little bit far-fetched, honestly. That's the only thing I'll kind of, okay, maybe this is forced. But other than that, it's like, who cares? Like, what we got is what we wanted. As far as Usopp in Elbaf, to do something that highlights his character. That Usopp shines the most as a character. We've seen it so many times. He even stood up to Luffy pre-time skip. Not only an enemy of Luffy's. He's standing up to the enemy of Luffy, the main antagonist of this arc, Gunko, who's influenced by Emu, arguably the final villain of this series. We don't know. So that right there has so much layers to Usopp right now. The fact that he didn't back down or run away to begin the trope of what Usopp usually does to lure his opponents in. No, there was none of that. So, and again, we didn't get Robin in this chapter, but I guarantee you we'll probably see her in the Owl Library, which will lead to something substantial to wrap up the arc. I guarantee it. It's going to be lore building involved. And the thing about it is, when it comes to Robin, Oda's been building up Robin throughout this arc, so we just want to see a payoff. With Usopp, up until this point, we really haven't gotten much of anything with Usopp. As far as a character moment like this, nothing comes close. And Luffy now has got even more motivation than ever before to go up against Emu/Gunko. Obviously, Loki has his motivation too. But like I said before, the fact that Oda highlighted the fact that Loki's size is causing more harm than good to Elbaf, when the whole purpose is to save Elbaf. Oda can portray Loki being a hard ass, but we know he's going to have Loki either revert to his normal state or reveal his hybrid form. It's one of the two. It's much easier for Oda to do that, so I can definitely see that happening. But really, the intrigue now is what happens with Gunko. Because it's either Gunko retreats or something takes place during the fight where maybe the takeover wears itself out. I don't see Emu losing under these circumstances. Do you see a shred of fear in Gunko's eyes here? I don't. Gunko does not seem intimidating, at least not right now. But that's the chapter, and I thought it was a damn good one. So I'm going to give my thoughts on the live action now. So if you don't want to stick around, that's fine. Catch you guys on the next one. But I do want to give my thoughts on the live action season 2 because there's a lot of details that Oda sprinkled in there from the spin-off that I was not expecting. I expected an Easter egg here and there, but to say we got Easter eggs is it's putting Easter to shame. We got a lot. It's easier to say that Lyra above her killed it as Nico Robin, she slayed, this and that. What? Yeah, no shit. It's the understatement of the year. Lyra above was born to be Nico Robin in the live action spin-off. That's certain characters were born to be this character. Lyra above was born to be Nico Robin, and I like how they started off season 2 the same way they ended it. They started off with Baroque Works led by Nico Robin, and they ended with Baroque Works. We ended with Robin and Mr. Zero Crocodile to wrap up episode 8. So we started off strong, we ended strong, and the thing I like the most is we got more interaction with the Baroque Works with Robin than we ever got in the manga or anime. I remember the meeting she held with the Baroque Works on Alabasta, but I do not remember this much interaction with characters like Miss Valentine. I also like the fact that it was Robin that handed Wapple the devil fruit. Now there's some things where Oda added in that actually make sense, and there's other scenes that make you what the fuck, and that's in a good way. So like I said, we started off with Robin the Baroque Works attacking the Marines. Obviously, this leads to Robin with the entrance displaying her devil fruits, and that's the thing about Into the Grand Line. Before, it's all about establishing the Straw Hats to form the early stages of the Straw Hats. Now it's all about highlighting the dangers, what lies beyond the Grand Line. And they did that an epic job. It started off with Robin taking out a group of Father Marines. Now there's a lot they added in episode 1. Quite frankly, I was shocked. Now the scene with Zoro in the sword shop and him meeting Tashigi, that was great. They nailed that on point. Makanyu, he nailed that scene perfectly. We got Luffy versus Smoker, and I thought Callum Kerr nailed the shit out of Smoker. He nailed that so perfectly. The fight we got with Luffy versus Smoker was great. What did I knew that Oda did this deliberately. They withheld on showing Dragon in any of the trailers that I saw. Didn't need to show him, but I don't think they even unless it was the Midnight Hour. I don't remember them revealing who plays Dragon, but he shows up out of nowhere, much like he did in the anime, in the manga. Pulls up to save Luffy. And what I like about this is the aftermath of this, where we got Smoker interacting with Garb to let him know about Dragon, but we didn't get to see this in the anime or the manga. So the fact they added this here makes so much sense, because remember what Garp tells Luffy after Ina's lobby. He said, "Oh, I heard you had a run-in with your old man at Logtown." How would he know that unless he talked to Smoker? Which Smoker was the highest-ranking Marine that witnessed Dragon, literally. So yeah, that makes sense. Even though we didn't see the interaction in the anime on the manga, but here it makes sense. I think like a lot of the details that Oda sprinkled in here is kind of like, yes, it's a wink to those like you or me that have caught up, that watch and read One Piece religiously, that microscope everything from every chapter, from every episode for situations like this. We get this in the live action, and I like that. There's other Easter eggs as well, like Dragon, like talking about Luffy, or how you've chosen to be a pirate, and who shows up behind him. Like, I'm surprised a lot more people are talking about that. Bro, they teased Sabo before they even introduced Ace. That is insane. There's a lot of other scenes that if you can't blink, you're gonna miss it. Like when Luffy's passed out at Cape Town, and he's like mumbling in his sleep, but he's talking about Don Don. Unless you caught up with the series, you're not gonna know. That's gonna fly over your head. So Kingdom arc, where we got Nami and Sanji's conversation, and Sanji begin opening up about his mother, and I'm like, oh shit, they're really gonna do this. And in one hand, yeah, it's a spoiler, but in the other hand, it makes sense because there's a lot of parallels between Chopper's backstory and Sanji's backstory, as far as like them being taken in by people that aren't their family necessarily, that got shunned out by their family, but they tried to do the right thing by helping out those who took them in. F with his father figure, but Sanji tried to help out his mother who was ill. See, Chopper tried to help out Dr. Hillock, which I thought Mark Herlick, the guy who played Dr. Hillock, I thought he nailed the shit out of that role. Like, oh my god, they nailed that Chopper backstory so perfectly. Like there's all these scenes, like the scene with Brook. Yeah, that was a cameo, but it makes sense given Laboon's connection to that. And then we got the scene back at Whiskey Peak with Zoro taking out 100 fodder. Like that was great, and it was a great choice to like sprinkle in the scenes of Mihawk in the background, like, oh, you think you're doing great by this? Like, and Zoro's like, no, but it's a start. So I like they added that in there, because it's obviously it goes with Zoro's goal of being the world's strongest swordsman, but he needs to surpass Mihawk to do that, which, are we going to get that fight? I don't know. With Cross Guild, who knows if they make an appearance before Elbaf ends. We don't really know how this arc is going to end as a whole. The biggest one to me is like the Easter egg that Oda revealed, that, which quite frankly, like I said before, unless you like caught up with the manga, you're not going to know anything about. Like the Roger and Garp conversation, where it's about introducing the fact that Roger has a son. The fact that we got that scene now, but the thing that Roger says that really took me back was like, oh, you're the hero of God Valley. The fact that Oda's allowing God Valley to be mentioned now. Those who read the manga, we know what went down a year ago. So it's funny that Roger's saying that when we know what really went down. Cool, and I like how they sprinkled that in, because obviously with Logtown, that's the lineage of Roger's execution. So they included that scene with Garp and Roger and the conversation about Ace. Obviously that's going to play into effect next season. Trafithar as Vivi, I thought nailed it. She nailed the role of Vivi perfectly. I also like the fact that during John Kingdom, where we got the scene of the Reverie, did you guys catch the world building scene where Oda decided to sprinkle in world building aspects into the live action spin-off in season 2? I thought it was a great touch, but it's classic Oda, given what we know now. And it's so funny, like despite the animosity between Wapol and Vivi, look at how things are playing out now. Look who saved Vivi back at the Reverie, and how these two first interacted. It's so funny to me that the parallels are there, but look at where we're at now. You can tell we're nearing the end of the series, alright. Lyra Above has a role in every scene as Robin, killed it. The interactions with Vivi, we also got the interactions with Tashiki. The whole aesthetic is great, but the vibe of Robin, Lyra Above captures that so well. They made the right selections of who they casted each respective character. Magnelio, who plays Mr. Zero Crocodile, he nailed the vibe so perfectly. Like that conversation with Sanji, they definitely made the right selection with who they casted each character to be. The main plot points that mattered within season 2, they nailed. Like the scene where Luffy carrying Nami when Sanji falls, and Luffy snatches Sanji with his mouth. I thought it was a great scene. Like, the inclusion of Bartolomeo in the Lockdown episode. I expected him to make a cameo just to have the way that Oda is, but man, to see him have like an actual role in that episode, and it makes sense because it has highlighting why is Bartolomeo such a fanboy of Luffy and the Straw Hats. Well, we get our answer because he doesn't really have much hope of anything until he meets Luffy. We get to see the scene where Luffy is like smiling. He says, "I'm dead," but he's not. So that was a great scene too. Obviously, saved by Dragon. The little garden episode was great. Like Ussop, I mean, they really killed it in that episode. That was one of the strongest episodes of the arc, I think. And I think it's kind of ironic too because of what we got in this chapter. But again, whether you want to attribute that to Oda using that to finally push something with Ussop, I don't know. But like I said before, I don't really care. I'm just glad we got something of substance standpoint because he definitely needed it. Of everybody else that was on Elbaf, Robin already been built up, so we just need to see a payoff. There's a scene where they're talking about where Brogy's bringing up the whole situation about how they pray to Sun God at the top. That did not fly over my head. There's certain scenes that I had to go back and watch, like the whole scene with Sabo in the background. Wait, was that Sabo? Just because that sure as hell wasn't Bella Bay. So I had to go back and watch. So yeah, there's certain scenes where I have to go back and rewatch, but they nailed the scene. But the fact that Oda said they prayed to the Sun God at the top of Elbaf, the fact that Oda's in, and we know for a fact that Oda has a hand in the script, so is this Oda telling us something without actually saying something about, I don't know. I've been saying from the get-go that maybe if there is a Rob Poneglyph on Elbaf, and at this point I won't bet against it, especially with Oda amping up the pacing. I said from the get-go, maybe there's a Rob Poneglyph inside the tree, but looking at this now, I can absolutely see Oda having a reveal that no, the Rob Poneglyph could be at the top, which by Norse mythology standpoints would be Asgard, would be at the top where the gods reside, so that would make sense as well. But is Oda going to reveal that, or is he going to reveal something else? I don't know. That's just one of the things that stuck out to me. You could take what we got in season 2 and apply it to this chapter, or apply it to this arc in general. All these nuances of information that, quite frankly, I was shocked that Oda gave us this soon. Obviously, Chopper now joined the Straw Hats. FYI, that's not going to be the only addition to the Straw Hats. We'll find that out in the next season. With season 1, we didn't know. It was expectations. We didn't know what we were going to get. With season 2, they made a statement. And not only did they make a statement, they surpassed season 1. I said this, like, with the content they had to work with, this was going to surpass season 1. Get a perfect review on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't really attribute that to much. What matters is One Piece live action is what's going to continue the spin-off even further. If they get the results that meet expectations, and they did, apparently not only was season 2 number 1, but it also pushed season 1 into the top 10, which, I mean, that's been out for almost 3+ years now. The fact that it pushed season 1 into the top 10 and earned 3.6 million, that's for season 1. For season 2, it got 16.8 million views, which is insane. It's a lot of series on Netflix on their weekly can barely break 3 million, let alone 16. So that's insane. For Netflix standards, I would consider, yeah, One Piece season 2 was a success. So I don't know how many seasons they got, but the fact that Oda's like teasing this here and there, like the revealing that Usopp's dream is to go to Elbaf, he would like to do that. It says, Luffy says, we're going to go there in a live action adaptation. So what's Oda trying to tell us here? Like, so the rumor was at first it was 6 seasons. Another rumor says 10 to 12 seasons, but with the success of what I just mentioned, that could easily be increased. So we don't know, but Oda's like revealing this here and now, and I wonder that's the reason why he decided to give us the Sabo cameo. I thought it was interesting that he had Tashigi interact with Kobe this early on, which we haven't really got outside of their dealings in Sword. We really haven't got that much. So that was kind of neat. They included that too. What do you guys think of season 2? I thought they nailed it and then some, but that's an understatement. Lyra Bova killed it as Nico Robin. No shit. Understatement of the year. Looking back at it now, I said this when they first dropped the trailer, when they first mentioned season 3's been greenlit. Yeah, it was okay. Season 2's going to be hype, but keep season 3. It's been greenlit, so keep that in the back of your minds. That was a smart move, because now they're only going to add it on to the momentum. I thought it was a great season for One Piece on Netflix. Can't wait for season 3. This chapter itself was a great ending. Like, the moment with Usopp made up for it, big time. And with Robin's case, like I said, Oda's been building Robin up, so it's just a case of whether or not we get a payoff. Hopefully we do. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you enjoyed this review, you guys know what to do, hit that thumbs up. I appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys' support. Take it easy, guys. Bye.